Namaskar. I am Kumar Rakesh. You are watching Global Governance News TV. Today we are going to discuss Uttarakhand election. As we know, in Bharat, there are assembly election in 5 states: Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Manipur, and Goa. So today we are going to discuss the Uttarakhand. And without going to any details, just 14th February, the date of election in Uttarakhand, there are 70 seats, assembly seats, and the BJP, Congress, and now first time AAP is going to be contest in this election. And last 2021, uh, just 46%, 46.5% votes uh, gained, and by with winning 57 seats by BJP, and Congress just only just can retain 33.5% votes with 11 seats. And now this AAP is the first time going to contest all the 70 seats. So we can understand the vote percentage of Uttarakhand Assembly. And as we know it, out of 70, if any party get 36, they are capable to form the government. Now the issue is, many issues are there, and the recent issue is a controversy: Muslim University in Uttarakhand, and that is agenda of Congress. So we can understand how Congress is going with dividing agenda of Bharat, and how today our Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke in Rajya Sabha, upper house of Parliament, about the Congress. With due to Congress, Mahatma Gandhi just warned the country, and just the leader Nehru just scrapped the Congress now, but they did not. That's why all mishappenings. That's why the family rule, and just for the Sikh rights. That's why the emergency, and even the accounting of the all uh, mishappenings for the country as we know it. And there is so many issues, development also issue, and just but opposition making the sketch for the three in 5 years, three chief ministers, are not in 5 years, last the 8 9 months, how why BJP changed the three chief ministers. And but now this election is uh, at hand on the 14th of February. So I welcome Ajay Ramolaji, senior journalist from Uttarakhand, more than 20 years in the journalism. Welcome Ajay Ramolaji. Vandanaji Jhingan, Chicago, from America. She is also senior journalist and social activist. And Alok Laharji, senior journalist and uh, research and political analyst from Spain. And Dr. Silpi Saxena is just a political commentator and educationist and a social activist with us, and living and related with the uh, I think hilly areas of the country, and very well connected, we can say. So I start from today, Ajay Ramalaji. Just how just you analyze the situation at present in Uttarakhand, which party is going to win, who will be lose, and just giving inputs. Two big leaders, Kishore Upadhyay, the chief of the Uttarakhand Congress, former chief, joined BJP and got a ticket. Sarita Arja, uh, Congress, Mahila Congress chief of state, leave just left Congress and joined BJP. On the other way, two ministers, already 5 years in the ministry, enjoyed all the powers. What will say? I just left on you. Yashpal Arja left at the last moment BJP and joined Congress. Earlier, he was also in Congress, in between, in horse trading, and we can say whatever the loyalty change. They joined BJP. Now he left. Another one, Harak Singh Rawat, Congress, BJP, Congress, like that. So now he left the ministry. He was minister, and he also left the BJP, joined Congress, but Congress did not give him ticket because uh, uh, the contender Harish Rawat was against him. But anyhow, he managed ticket for his daughter-in-law. So this is a main political scene, and I just request Ajay Ramolaji, what is the present situation, what is the issue, then we'll start the talk. Thank you. Ajay, unmute yourself, please. Thank you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Uh, Kumarji, historically speaking, Uttarakhand have always gone with either of the two. One at sometimes in one session, in one term it is BJP, in one another term it is Congress. But this time, due to the turncoats, I mean, due to the switching of the sides of the candidates, the situation looks very, very different and very interesting. I mean, you cannot say that which party will come to the power,
Okay.
that is because uh, you now today we cannot say which is Congress and which is BJP, because both have leaders from each other's parties. Both have posed leaders from each other parties. So the situation is very different from the last time. The second thing is, uh, you talked about the issues. You talked about Kishore Upadhyay. I mean, Kishore Upadhyay knows that Harish Rawat was behind his defeat last time round when he went to
Okay.
Sehspur. When he was giving the ticket not from Tehri but from Sehspur. So Kishore Upadhyay, fearing that this time also Harish Rawat will cut his wings, he thought of joining uh, BJP. Similar is the case with Harak Singh Rawat. I mean, these people, they were in Congress, then they joined BJP, and now, like fair weather friends, they see that there's an anti-incumbency against BJP. BJP has changed its three chief ministers in span of few months, so they think that they will probably, I mean, they will not win on the seats because they have not done anything for that seat. But they have always been self-centric when they have been in Congress or in BJP. For them, the party ideology or any other thing doesn't not matter, and self comes before everything else. So that is the main issue. I mean, the tussle with Harish Rawat. I mean, Harish Rawat's ambitions of becoming chief minister again have also led to large number of majority of leaders switching sides, and vast number of constituencies. Whether you see in Yamnotri seat, you see, I mean, the
Yeah.
winning candidate of Congress, he was not given the ticket, so he's fighting independent. And similar is the case in the BJP also. I mean, the anti-incumbent leaders, I mean, they have been repeated in 10 or seats where they have seen a lot of rebels, and that situation has become
That will
very
create
difficult.
that will create the chaos actually in the
Yeah,
justice for the BJP.
it's very chaotic. I mean, you to say that who will win. I mean, of course, Congress has a edge because it has been sitting in opposition, and there's anti-incumbency due to price rise, due to LPG gas cylinder, due to various other issues.
But
But
what is
now
your
with
input? Anyhow, BJP will win, or just both is the neck to neck fight?
today it is neck to neck fight, sir. Today you cannot say that Congress is winning or BJP is winning outright. I mean, that
Okay.
is not the case because both the parties, I mean, they claim that we will win 60 seats, but the situation on ground level is different because people are not only assessing parties now. People are assessing the candidate also. I mean, who has
Okay.
switched on,
Okay.
who has switched the sides. I mean, for example, in BJP, if they were leaders whom they were angry against, they have suicide and they've gone to Congress. So now the Congress party workers are angry there. So
Okay.
the anger is in both the parties. So that it's a very fluid situation right now. Uh,
Okay. But
and
now after 5 days, the election is going to be held.
Yes, yes. I mean, sir, the voter is silent, and when
Okay.
the voter is silent, anything can happen. The
Okay.
voter is not coming out. It's only karyakartas who are coming out, but and there's a situation of despair in the state, and after this controversy, why this controversy of Muslim University cropped up? I think so because Harish Rawat is fighting from Lal Kuan, which has sizable population of Muslims. So it could be from his side also, because Harish Rawat is also, the situation is tight in Lal Kuan also for him.
Okay. Okay.
So to garner few Muslim votes, I mean, this
He may
Muslim
lose.
unity.
He may. Some reports are coming. He may lose also seats.
Yes, yes.
All.
So
Yeah.
yes, so to polarize the vote there, so he might have started this whole Muslim university thing. Uh,
Mm.
so that is one thing which
Yeah.
I mean, because
So
the
nice.
Muslims are not in large number in other parts of Uttarakhand, and it has had an impact in other constituencies. I mean, Congress leaders, some Congress leaders silently are saying, why did you rake up this issue in the first place? I mean, we were willing. I
So,
mean,
so
BG,
just okay. Thank you, Reji. I'll take the Vandana ji. Vandana, just you see how Congress is desperate for the Muslim votes, and there is no where there is a no Muslim vote either in Uttarakhand, but they also announcement for the separate Muslim university. How disgusting! What do you think?
Namaskar to my co-panelist and to Kumar Rakesh ji and to our viewers. Uttarakhand, as we all know, Devbhumi. As a person of diaspora, it is very close to my heart. The development we have seen it in the last 2014 onwards, let me be very honest with, because for all the Char Dham, starting from when we touch Haridwar, from Roorkee, I think it starts. We've been seeing, I have visited myself also. Last I was there in 2019. After that, I never came to India. So, but other visuals that we see, the development, the roads, and all, they have taken shape. And to continue, we would like not Asur to rule, we would like Devta ke Doot to rule, to be honest. This is the voice from diaspora. Because as you mentioned, for a small sect of people, they are offering, this is called lurement. I was just reading the 10 points that the PAP party has given. भ्रष्टाचार खत्म करेंगे दिल्ली में तो कर दिया भ्रष्टाचारी क्या भ्रष्टाचार खत्म करेगा like we all know that like you know and then 20 जहाँ पे भी wherever it comes the free thing I have this right here somebody just shared it with me now like you know 24 hours हमें free बिजली देंगे who's going to provide is he going to get from his means like where from the money is going to come somebody and whenever the free thing comes it really boils my blood how could you promise like something I can imagine like you know because you can generation who's going to there is no free breakfast somebody somewhere is going to pay for it so you are
yeah,
fooling the voters basically by saying this and then बच्चों को नौकरी देंगे हैं अगर नहीं दे पाए तो 5,000 रुपए महीना देंगे कहाँ से लाएंगे हैं but means like this is you know you just there is no harm in typing and portraying it but somebody has to question it Delhi mein why the people in Delhi are not getting anything I have not heard from anyone yeah Sheka Tarab I have heard like you know they're opening on a ground road basis and when things were closed he opened the bars in Delhi so that's what so what is he planning Madiras in Uttarakhand also where we feel when we leave our home, I'm pure vegetarian. But the people, those who go there, they go with the intact in their mind because we are going to a spiritual place. We don't have to
yeah,
eat meat. We don't have to. What is it means like trying to coming back to the Congress. कांग्रेस को तो आज ब्लीच कर दिया राज्यसभा में दिस वाज माय बिकॉज धोया था लोकसभा में ब्लीच किया राज्यसभा में दे हैव शोन अगर कांग्रेस थी तो क्या क्या हुआ and even if they are because it is now on the voters you just said 5 days to go that they had to use their wisdom and Ajay ji did mention a very good thing about like you know people have started um, examining people like you are people I'm a people too so from a people to people like the elected officials are people so as it is the party's position now the parties are also Uttar Pradesh we have seen it that kitno ke ticket cut gaye but I am not very sure about the ground report in Uttarakhand to be very honest with you so this is a time that everybody I live in US every 2 years we do have elections for the Congress means like representatives You know what all they do every 2 years, because they are working on the ground, because 2 years comes like this. It's not like in Bharat, like every 5 years you sleep over and then you go and knock the door. I think if people are awakening, that is good, to be very good. And if the government in the central and the states are the same, it helps in coordination, in the development, in the growth. That is what people have to keep it in mind. Thank you very much.
So nice. So just Dr. Silpi Saxena, you're from the hilly state. So how just you understand the politics of the hills, and how just analyze about the Uttarakhand?
Namaskar to all the panelists. So, very good question, Rakesh, you have asked, and I was listening to both the speakers. So, my first question is that you said that why Congress is so much passionate about Muslim voters, but I'm not agree with that. I think Congress is desperate and passionate to spoil Indian culture because, as Vandana has said, that Uttarakhand is known as Dev Bhumi because
Yeah.
we have all Char Dham Yatra, Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri, Haridwar. So because Uttarakhand is known for the culture, the rich heritage of India, and opening Muslim university is itself a question mark. The only intention is that how to spoil Indian culture, as Vannaji has said, that because Muslim university will be there, so we cannot imagine what kind of scene would be there. So that is entirely against our Indian culture. Now the second thing is about our party, Aam Aadmi Party, now trying to be expanded in other states. So at one point, what I feel that the ideology of Aam Aadmi Party and Congress, at one point they are same. We have seen in the last Delhi election, at one point when BJP was the governing party, so at one point they joined their hands. Later on, they have some internal conflict, but ideology is same. How to spoil Indian culture? What Arvind Kejriwal did in Delhi. There are many videos are going to viral. How he promised, how he has giving the taxpayers money to masjid and the Maulana salary. So because he has win India Delhi election based on this politics, appeasement politics. So what Aam Aadmi Party is going there, what Congress is going there. So one thing I feel that they both the parties are creating danger and really risky for Indian culture because Uttarakhand is supposed to be the Devbhoomi. Thank you.
Yeah, really, Alokji, overall, if they see the issues, national or international, and as far as concerned, Uttarakhand is more than, as I think, the most European countries. Very beautiful, but not properly managed, not properly governed. Lots of sceneries and lots mountains just to be. I've been the many parts of Europe, and I find Uttarakhand, Himachal, all over the hilly states of the Bharat very beautiful. If they properly managed, properly administered, then tourists will be just turn
Marketed.
just prefer to
It
go.
has not been marketed well. That's the right word.
Marketed and propagated already.
Yeah.
Marketed also not. That's why so not properly governed also. So how just you see one, the Uttarakhand like state is not properly, as Vandana said, I'm taking her words, not properly marketed. Why not properly marketed? Why not properly governed for the tourist, for the just healing center, just for the naturopathy? What are niches are there? One. Number two, after I think it's more than 20 years, more than I think Ajayji, 12 chief ministers, 12 chief ministers. Two, political instability. And third, the migration. Whom do you blame?
Good
Congress or
evening,
BJP?
Rakesh, and thank you for having me on your show. I mean, we have to keep in that that Uttarakhand is relatively a new state, so it carries the backpack of when it was part of Uttar Pradesh. So we have to see that, and Uttar Pradesh in those days it was called Ulta Pradesh. So governance was almost negligible, and corruption had been, one of the major things. We have to keep that also in mind. Now we have to we cannot forget that Uttarakhand is also, it's a bordering state. We have borders with two of our neighbors. One is China and the other is Nepal. And since it is, neighboring state of China, and what it has not, received in all these years has been a good infrastructure. And if we are looking at, like it's a very beautiful state, people are nice, once upon a time it was said that you could keep your houses open and nobody even entered, and there was no robbery, no crime was there, and all these things. But slowly what is happening is like people are going away because there is basically no infrastructure. And what do we understand by infrastructure now? Yes, with the current government, with Modi ji, infrastructure is being created, very nice roads are coming up. But what happened in all these years? Okay, it is also true that Uttarakhand came into being after the promise which was made by Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. So in a way, Uttarakhand is the creation of BJP only. But then what has happened over the years is there's so many, in a small state like this, there's so many political parties which are taking, they're participating, and that corruption is overflowing. So in the case of Congress, the corruption is normally institutionalized. They do it together. In case of, the earlier BJP leaders who have been coming from Congress, so some kind of a pure BJP culture has not been there in Uttarakhand, to my knowledge. And then they do corruption on, on individual level. And then there are too many stakes there. And what happens is that everybody is power hungry. So it is something like what we had, in 77s and all that, we had Janata Party. So there were too many prime ministerial candidates. Here we have too many, chief minister candidates. So that is also true. And unfortunately, neither of the governments, they have taken care, of giving a basic infrastructure. By basic infrastructure, at least I understand that there should be good schools. There should be good roads. There should be hospitals. Okay, now we are talking about, aims coming up, but it has taken too long. And what was happening in all these years? Nothing like this. So what are the factors right now? Okay, now we also have this Ayaram and Gayaram feature there, which is that the BJP candidates or people who are in the government, they are now going to Congress, and the Congress people are coming here. Then we have, too many people who are very keen to become the chief minister. But what is the public looking at? That is one thing. Now, what has happened is with the change of 3 chief ministers, the people are not too sure how BJP is going to, govern and what kind of governance would it be. But a very major factor, in my opinion, is the central government. Modi ji is still respected, and all the infrastructure which has come up in all these days, I think people understand it pretty well, that this is the doing of Mr. Modi. The local MLAs, they have not delivered so much, or if they have not been able to convey to the people. One thing we have to speak in favor of BJP is that, it has not been a corrupt government, in spite of the fact that there are 3, chief ministers have been there. No major charges of corruption can be there. Now comes, of all the parties, let's count the parties. We have BJP, we have Congress, we have Aam Aadmi Party, we have Samajwadi Party, we have BSP, and we also have already AIMIM. So there's so many parties which are there. So who will be the major player? In my opinion, and I'm not an expert like Ramola ji is on Uttarakhand, I think the major players would be BJP and Congress. So now the problem with Congress is there's no major issue. There's no issue at all because corruption is not there. Development, maybe from the central government side, has been there, so which is going to go in favor of the BJP, in spite of the fact the local units have not been so proactive. Now what happens is they did not know what to do, so they came up with this thing we're talking about, the Muslim university. And I think this is a backlash of what happened in Karnataka, where BJP government had said that they'll set up a Sanskrit university, which obviously the Congress there has,
There is demand in so many states, not in the Karnataka and other places. This is going to be already Sanskrit University in Delhi, National Sanskrit University already here and already in Delhi, and they're planning
Lal Bahadur Sanskrit Vidyapith was already there in
you are right.
Delhi, Jawaharlal University. So that is not. But the question is how much Muslim culture is there? you have to be sensible enough. What, normally everywhere, if you read in the newspapers and everything, BJP is the party which is normally criticized for communalizing the things and all that. So if you
Yeah,
talk about the Hindu unity, then you're communalizing things. But if you talk about these kind of things, then it is not communal. Now,
you
this
are
is a
right.
very crazy interpretation of secularism which we have in India. But I think by saying this, the Congress leader, he's put the axe on his feet, because probably because of incumbency, they would have, he would have probably, he was getting a benefit. But with this polarization, what he's automatically done is he's not just united, and certain people have drawn back their candidatures in his favor. That is okay. But he was also scared at the same time that BSP, AIMIM, and then Aam Aadmi Party, they are all going to poach into the Muslim vote, which traditionally have always gone to Congress or SP. Okay, BSP, I don't remember it has ever been a very major player. And if SP was there, it was always ruling when it was part of UP with the support of Congress, as far as I remember. Now, I think he's shot on his foot, because this is going to unite the Hindu vote, which probably, is always fragmented into caste and all those factors. So I don't think it's going to go into his favor. But as things stand today, and I think Ramolaji is right, maybe BJP has an upper hand because of the Modi factor there. Otherwise, they're probably neck to neck, as far as I know. And I think Congress has shot, itself in the foot by mentioning this thing about opening a, Muslim university in the Devbhumi. That is my call on it. And as I said, Ramolaji is in touch with the ground, so he would know better than I am. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, so nice of you. Just a time of break, and a break I'll check Baramola ji after the all inputs and then go ahead. Welcome after break. We are discussing about the Uttarakhand election going to be held on 14th of February. Today is 8th February. After 5 days, election will be held, and on 10th March, and we'll see the result. What a result! But still, all parties are confused, as we discussed. Congress, especially, I think somebody said yesterday names will be changed, like the Muslim League 2, and BJP has also some issues, and Harish Rawat again. I think 70 plus, 75 plus leader, about 80, Harish Rawat. It claimed to be, I think, Congress has not still yet announced the CM, but BJP has a Pushkar Singh Dhami, the present leader and chief minister of the state, and youth comparatively to most of the states. He's an energetic and dynamic leader. And other one party also came in fray, that is called the UP, whatever is there, first time. And for the issues, all are confused. Ajay Molaji, what are the main issues? 5 days just election will be held, and no is just talking about the issues. Ajay ji, unmute yourself. Please.
It is true that nobody is talking about the real issues, the ground level issues.
Yeah.
The ground level issues are employment, ground level issues are migration, ground level issues are doubling the income of the farmers, and ground level issues are health and education, and not in the areas of the cities of the state, but at the remote districts which are bordering China and Nepal. I mean, you have thousands of ghost villages from where people have migrated, and which is very precarious, for which is very serious issue. I mean, China is sitting on top of us, and to not to have people in those villages, I mean, it is disastrous. So that means we have failed to provide them health issues, we have failed to provide them educations, we have failed to provide them connectivity. I mean, the communication connectivity is also very pathetic till now. And I feel both the parties, the Congress and the BJP, I mean, they have not. I mean, they have been unfair to Uttarakhand. I mean, considering the importance in the international scenario and vis-a-vis the country, I mean, they have not acted, in, to make it a sustainable state. So that these are the very, very important issues which nobody is raising, and that is why you see the turncoats. That is why you see, one leader from one party going to other party is believing that my prospects will be better there. That has been resented by the people here. I mean, today we don't know which is BJP and which is Congress. Half of the BJP people are in Congress and half of the Congress people are in BJP. So people, the ideology has taken a back seat. Only personal whims and fancies. For example, I mean, Congress had an edge, because of anti-incumbency. Congress had an edge in Uttarakhand, but due to whims and fancy of Harish Rawat ji and the ticket distribution, because for Harish Rawat, he says it is his last election, so he wants to be chief minister again. So the ticket distribution he has done according to him, not to the party, and that has backfired in Kumaon, especially in the Kumaon, where his own seat. I mean, he's facing a real problem with so many rebels. So and another issue is the Kishore Upadhyay. I mean, joining the former state Congress president, joining BJP. I mean, Upadhyay also knew that Harish Rawat was behind his defeat in last elections. So Upadhyay also switched sides, and similar is the case with many other leaders who have switched sides. My only point is, for example, if when we say about development, what we mean by development, we mean the last man standing should get the facilities. For example, last village in Uttarkasi district, which is
That
Chinese
we
border.
can say the Antyodaya Karskam is only on paper, not all properly
Yes,
implemented on the ground.
I mean, for example, if you see a small thing, a small thing, you see Uttarakhandi topi worn by Modi ji. I mean, Modi ji is much more calculative about Uttarakhand than these leaders. I mean, Modi ji
On that date,
wearing,
on the 26th January, yeah.
yeah, Modi ji wearing that Uttarakhand topi, and it is filled us
With
all
the
with
back, because
pride.
it's black cap, yeah.
He has felt a sense of pride among Uttarakhandis, and that is what Uttarakhandis need. You know, center has done a lot. Center has done a lot. I mean, Modi ji's 132 schemes. I mean, if they would have been implemented in the state, I mean, BJP would be riding high. I mean, it would have been in a majority government. But those schemes gone to grassroots levels? No, and that is because of the in Congress, it was bhrashtachar, it was corruption. For everybody was corrupt. In BJP, the few MLAs are corrupt. So I mean, uh, what we can say is, I mean, those and especially I'm about 132 schemes. I mean, they are such beautiful schemes. I mean, doubling the income of farmers, Awas Yojana, road connectivity, Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana, Mera Gaon, Meri Sadak. I mean, they have not been implemented. And that is what people are asking them. Nobody is against Modi ji. People still love Modi ji. But this BJP government and the changing of the chief ministers. I mean, why you have changed the chief ministers?
So
Uh,
rightly, Jayji, rightly you said Modi ji also issue now in the coming election in Uttarakhand and all states. Vandanaji, why? Why Modi ji's only issue? Why not the state development issue? Why the state leaders? What's the reason? What do you think behind it? Sitting in America, just how do you analyze this thing?
Achichi, I'm going to ask you a question because if you can educate me, actually. You said changing the three chief ministers in a short span of time. That could be that they were not delivering. So that's why, if you can see from my perspective, from an overview. No, I'm just asking. I said I'm just
Please.
asking, educating, getting myself educated. So
I
it
can
could
also
be.
reply the question after Adiji.
Okay, sure. So because if I'm not delivering, so the central can decide no, because if you are not deliverable, so you don't need to be there. Is that the reason that they were, or some other reasons? I don't know. If that, then it is good for voters. Like anybody who didn't do it, we didn't let him. Even we took care of our own people, to be honest, and we provided justice to the people, not to the people those who were elected official. Coming back to, you just asked me, see, there are certain things that people have to realize. I know because Ajayji has given a ground reporting that 132 schemes which has been like a central, so it's a responsibility. So the coordination between, and when there cannot be any excuse, because when central government is also the same party and so is the state government, it should have been flying high, which didn't happen.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
that, yeah, which didn't happen. So then people may be angry, because when they are seeing on the same context, the state that they became like a piece of, Uttar Pradesh, their development, because it's the same schemes for Uttar Pradesh also. So they've been implemented. So then people must be having that anger in their mind, and which is not wrong. So when I'm just trying to, like, I just pray, because the wisdom prevails. And if the government comes, because my lineage is towards, like, I said, towards the Sanatan, because I will be very much against getting an Islamic university there, because then what will happen? We already have Debans and all. So the scholars will go and will spoil the sanctity of that place, to be honest. And I don't want that. This is my personal opinion. Honest to God. Thank you.
So, Dr. Silvi Saxena, I think she's not there. Alokji, how just you see the complete scenario, how the Uttarakhand will play the important role just for the development of the Bharat? Unmute, Alokji, please unmute yourself.
We have to keep one thing in mind, that the current government in the center, the amount of Uttarakhandis who have formed part of the central government, like it has never been there in the history. The chief of the the armed forces, he was an Uttarakhandi. Then we have our national NIA, Mr. Dobal. He's there, and there are principal secretaries are also from there. So I think the way Uttarakhand has been represented in the central government, it has never happened in the past, and I think people are going to keep that in view. And that's why people, they're very intelligent people in Uttarakhand, and they are contributing towards national building. Now, this is very important. I think they took their pride, and Ramolaji mentioned that PM Modi, when he put up the Uttarakhandi cap, and this was the same cap or similar cap which Rawatji also won. So that kind of shows, what he did with that was, he not only filled the Uttarakhandis with pride, but he also paid a silent homage to General Rawat, who had given his services to the nation, and he'll never be forgotten for that. And same with Mr. Dobal. He had retired, but he was called back to give services to the nation. This is very important. I think Uttarakhandis understand this, and they know that the central government is doing. I think the intention of the government, the local governments there, run by BJP, they were very nice. They wanted to work. I agree with Rumolaji that all these development schemes have not reached to the last village. But there is also a very important reason, because when Congress rules a place, they rule with a complete ecosystem, and they create this ecosystem, and this ecosystem I'm talking about is the bureaucracy. So once they lose the elections, they still have the bureaucracy in place, and which, because of their corrupt ecosystem which they create, like Ramolaji said, everybody is party to the robbing of the taxpayers' money. So these officials also are part of that, and they make sure, this is how they function. They make sure that the coming government, they make it their life impossible for them to deliver. I think probably that was the reason that 3 chief ministers had been, had to be changed. That was basically because they were unable to govern. But the reason for the inability to govern were the secretaries which were there, the bureaucracy which was in place and which had been implanted over all these years by the Congress. Now, we cannot blame it on them. So if you have won the elections, it is your duty to take care of these bureaucrats and lush them out, change them, or do whatever you want to do, so that whatever your policy is, whatever your manifesto is, whatever you discussed and you want to deliver to the people, that is delivered in toto, come what may. That is what that's the reason politically it is more important than, let's say, a bureaucrat. I think the current BJP government, in spite of their good intents and all that, were faced by this wall, which they did not know how to, uproot. That, I think, is one of the reasons why this has happened. And again, as I said, like, Modi ji is a very intelligent person. He's a very astute politician, and he has delivered it without saying, without even addressing a rally there. He's already spoken to the people of Uttarakhand, and they understand and appreciate this. So in spite of all those negative things which can be thought about BJP local units, but I think there is this major factor which probably will make them sail through. But there's not going to be another third time, which means in case they get a majority this time, they'll have to really deliver like Uttar Pradesh has.
Okay, thank you. So last, just take Dr. Silpi Saxena. How you governance, deliveries, issues, leadership in Uttarakhand. How just you rate about the issue, governance, and the deliveries, and the issues and the development, and this is a political turmoil in both parties.
Yes, sir.
So, which will be just hit the public in this coming election? Yeah, please.
Yes, as we have seen that there is always an anti-incumbency, 5 years Congress, 5 years BJP. So now this time election is going to be interesting, and one more party has entered into this battlefield. And what Mr. Alok has said, Modi ji has given a very silent message by wearing a Uttarakhand cap on 26 January, and it was a burning question among media people what Modi ji is going to wear. So it was always a kind of tribute to General C.D. Rawat also. And as Vandana ji has said, I really want that some government should be there in Uttarakhand who can respect, who can restore, who can revive Indian culture only, and committing such kind of promises, Islamic University and Islamikaran and Islamization. So I really scared of that. No government should come in Uttarakhand, because and Uttarakhand people must be so much sensible. They should cast their vote to such a party who can at least restore their culture and sustain the Uttarakhand as Devbhumi. This is my personal opinion.
So nice, all of you. Just going to before wind up, Bandana ji just put a question before us, and I'll try to reply. Ajay ji also try to reply. Why the BJP changed the 2 more leaders at the last stage of the governance and party? So my input intake, there was some confusion, and there was some governance style. BJP central leadership not happy with the Trivendra Singh Rawat. One, after that, Tirth Singh Rawat was made, but that was some constitutional issue, how he'll win the election if any elected parliamentarian MP become the MLA. So they have to, only they can sustain for the 6 months. After 6 months, what will happen? So either they have to left the one seat, either the parliamentary seat or the MLA seat. So that was a problem for the election. And third one, then I'll check the Ajay. And third one, that's why the lottery opened for the Pushkar Singh Dhami. He was so lucky to just have and he's also just a second timer MP, was I think president of Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha, youth leader also. So this is there is so many interesting stories, but I think no need to on the public forum. Ajay.
I think so. The main issue was the 8 ministers from Congress who had switched over to BJP. They were made the ministers, and as Alokji said that the Congress carries its ecosystem everywhere. So these leaders, they carried that Congress ecosystem in BJP also, and that is why you don't see the implementations, because they were the ministers of very important portfolios.
Yeah,
They
just
held
for the
very,
deliveries. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they held very important portfolios, and that is the reason why Trivendra Rawat had to resign, because these all protested, because he was not letting them, you know, eat money and become
He was not able to
corrupt.
perform actually. Ajay. I think he was not able to
I think so.
perform.
They are both the things. So my only point is, for example, when we say about development, for example, we have very beautiful all weather road,
Yeah.
centrally funded projects, but and ropeway project. I mean, ropeway projects in Uttarakhand. So contention is like, why? I mean, if you have a ropeway for somewhere, why can't we extend that ropeway to a small, 15 furlongs down to a village? We can extend that ropeway,
No, no, I'm giving
and
input. Actually, Rope project is for all the Himalayan states and the 12 states of the country, and all planning has been completed and going to announce very soon. So there is so many works going on. How the four Badrinath, Kedarnath, and Jamunotri, Gangotri,
yes, sir. But
all the
what I'm
previous states going to be connect by the road and all, and by
no, sir.
train also.
What I'm trying to say is, ropeway
Please,
from one tourist destination to another, to just, for example, from road to a temple. There's a
yeah.
ropeway. Why can't that ropeway be extended to the village down, just a
Yeah,
furlongs
you're
down
right. That's
below? You
actually,
know.
Vandanaji question was different, and you are saying in the development issue. So where this is two-way, I was trying to answer the Vandanaji question why the three chief minister to change. Actually, three within 6 months. That was so many internal BJP leadership problem also. But now, and just you also pointed out the Congress, the 7-8 persons from the Congress came in the BJP, and they're trying to make the BJP like the Congress. So that not happened. That is all the main issue. So nice of you, all of you. Just you participate so and Uttarakhand the next day, and now on 5 days left. So state for the next state tomorrow and day after. Thanks to joining us. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.